who, you know, don't think that they're actually beaten. Like it makes no sense. Like the emperor planned for everything. Like everyone knows that the emperor planned for everything. You don't think that maybe
All right,
for
we
everything. You don't think that
I
maybe.
fixed it. Okay.
You don't think that maybe. Amazing. Let's get this show on the road
All right.
so you can fix your sleep schedule.
Yeah, I know, right? What's going on? I know it's been a minute, everybody, but we're back. We've crawled out of the
So
woodworks to completely trash on everything that is Star Wars. Just kidding. That is actually not
yeah,
going to
fuck
happen.
everything. This
Dave
sucks.
Filoni is our
Everything's wrong.
god. He is our savior, and he is the embodiment of everything that is right in the world. Um,
I just want you to know. I just want you to know the price of the brick just means oh the streets we back. Star Wars is back, baby.
they got one more in them. That's for damn sure.
This kind of type beat. They got one.
Also, side note, because people at work have been bullying me to get it. Sam, I don't know if you can even see. I got Berserk that came in today.
Oh, you did.
So I'm gonna
Finally.
I'm diving into anime before I dive into Star Wars comics. Who would have thought?
That's
Um,
so embarrassing, honestly.
um,
It's
okay.
not even
So
everyone at work. It's our group chat as well. Have
I
been
don't even
bullying you to get. We've been talking about it mercilessly.
I don't even know where to begin. First of all, I know it's been a while. We're gonna just we're just gonna nonchalantly skip over the fact that it's been like 6 months. Um,
That doesn't matter. What
no,
matters is that we're here. We're not the podcast you deserve, or the podcast you would wanted, or the podcast you needed, but we're the podcast that's
we are in fact a podcast. Let's just put it at that.
the podcast.
Um, so the premiere. What are your thoughts on the premiere? Um,
Okay, so
Specifically leading up
two
to
episode premiere.
leading up to the show. Like, what were your feelings leading up to it, and then after the premiere, what was your overall like emotional state, or what was like your
I walked in with zero
what was your
expectations. Like I do
overall
that for all Star Wars
emotional
media
state?
now. I walk in with zero
I walked in
expectations,
with
because it's been such a roller coaster of content. Like we get Andor, and then we get the sequels, and or we get Bad Batch, or we get the Clone Wars season 7, or we get Book of Boba Fett, or we get Mandalorian, and like it's such a up and down fluctuating thing. I just walk in with zero
right,
expectations. I'm like, okay, surprise me.
right,
Show me. I want to take this at face value. I don't want to have any expectations for anything. I don't want to be like, oh, I wish I could have seen this because I wanted this to happen. Like that doesn't do myself or the show um, the service of a fair critique. So I walked in with no expectations, and I walked out decently satisfied. Um, I will say this. I was screaming from the rooftops until I'm blue in the face. I want a lightsaber duel that looks like an actual lightsaber duel that we saw in the prequels, and I'm tired of not getting that.
if you want that, you'd
So
have to hire Nick Gillard, but I don't think he's looking for any jobs at this point. He was the stunt coordinator for all the lightsaber battles and stuff like that. But anyways, that's besides
well,
the point.
they need to. They need to. I look. Let me tell you something. There are people out there who have taken Nick Gilliard's work and adapted it and made it look pretty damn good. How do you think all these Star Wars fan films look so good with their choreo? I've seen Star Wars fan films with better choreo than I saw in the sequels, but that's besides the point. Um, it was a good setup for a show. Nothing special, nothing groundbreaking, but they were obviously run of the mill introductory Star Wars shows. It reestablished Sabine as the rebel without a cause type deal. It showed Hera dealing with the bureaucracy and everything in the Republic. It showed the New Republic being incredibly inept as ever, and it honestly, I'll say this with one face, and if you've listened to us before, you will know this. I am so tired of every government in Star Wars, especially no, every good guy government in Star Wars being glaringly incompetent. So incompetent, in fact, that any real world government would fire everyone who worked there. Like literally, How are you taking people who just fought for a xenophobic, human supremacist space Nazi government, making them swear oaths of loyalty, and then releasing them into the populace? Tell me how that makes sense. Like, I know this is not part of the first two episodes, but when that senator said, "We made them say oaths of loyalty," I was like, you made them speak that they were loyal, and you think that that makes them loyal? Are you dumb? Like, there's no possible way that you want to avoid a war by with or a second war by ignoring signs that there could be a larger movement of the people that you just thought you defeated out there in the galaxy. It makes no sense. I will continue to say it makes no sense. It tires me, and I know that they can do better. Like, I know that Star Wars can do better. But alas and alack, here we are. But again, like I said, 7 out of 10 for both episodes. 7 out of 10 2 episode premiere. I I do like the fact that Shin was kind of toying with Sabine in their fight. Like, their fight was a little more. It was raw, and it definitely showed that neither of them really had like any.
They're both
Like,
inexperienced.
Yeah, they're both wildly inexperienced, which was okay. I was okay with that. I was okay with how their fight looked because
If
of
anything, I feel like Sabine would have the slighter edge just because she's a Mandalorian, and Mandalorians
she
are
should,
warriors. But she's a
but
stubborn,
she also
annoying
has
little prick. So I mean,
zero force training.
yeah,
Like,
that too.
less than zero. Quite
But if
frankly,
I'm betting on anybody else to take out a Jedi, aside from Cad Bane, it's give me any Mandalorian, they stand a chance. Other than
yeah, no, exactly.
Den Guy, whatever however you say their name. Anyways, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that the first episode, obviously, I went back for a rewatch of Rebels, and I'm pretty glad I did because I think if I didn't, I would have absolutely hated the first two episodes. But
Oh, I'm sure.
I
I'm sure.
I kind of understood what they were doing. I was like, okay, but this is what I disagree with though. The people that are like, well, they're just trying to set it up. They're setting up the show. They're setting it up for. Why did we have? Why does Rebels exist then? It wasn't Rebels setting up to this point. Now we need to waste 2 more episodes of more setting up. Like, it's starting to sound very
Well,
Marvel-esque. Like, oh, we're just gonna make this show to set this up, and then this show is gonna set this up. Like, why can't the
that's the
show?
thing.
Why can't the show just be the show? Why can't 2 + 2 just equal 4? Like.
As I think that the goal of any show that Disney makes for and any IP that they own is to attract new viewers with each show. And so you have to dedicate an episode or two, potentially, to catching people up on what they missed because they don't want to go back and rewatch and watch Star Wars Rebels for the first time if they're not a longtime fan of the franchise. Like, is it annoying for the people who know what's going on? Yeah, it is. But from a business and retention standpoint, I get what they're going for. Do I agree with it? Maybe only spend one episode setting things up. But I think the way that they did it in this instance worked. And again, it's not every single episode. Sorry, it's not every single show that does this. Andor, zero setup. Like, it was and I think because it was a prequel show, like, we already know the character's established. We just needed to know how he got to be who he is. That's why it worked. That's why it worked with no setup at all.
I think that's the only show that could get away with something like that too, just because it was very
because
to the
it was
point.
Exactly, it was a prequel. It was a prequel. It did not mess around. It didn't have to reestablish the character. It didn't have to reestablish the character in our minds. It was technically building an entirely new character from scratch.
Another thing I thought this show was gonna suffer from after watching those first 2 episodes was, I came up with this name or this term called side character-itis, meaning you take a character, you introduce a legacy character / character who is seen and known as the main character. Whereas if you were to mention to some rando, like, think of Star Wars, who do you think of? Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, main characters.
Yep.
You don't
Yep.
really say Boba Fett. You don't really say Han Solo. Not that they're bad characters. They're just not main characters. They're not as vital to the story. Like,
Han Solo could be argued, but I get your point.
so, as we've seen with the Book of Boba Fett, as we've seen with The Mandalorian Season 3, as we've seen with Kenobi, all these main characters were sidelined for poor, watered-down versions of their counterparts, of their side characters. And I was afraid we were going to get the same exact thing in Ahsoka with Sabine. I thought it was going to be all about Sabine. I thought Ahsoka was going to be like the mentor,
A background
that-
character, yeah.
that Obi-Wan was to Leia. I thought we were going to get, I don't know,
Jeez.
I thought we were going to get Shin, or as I like to call my bae, Shin.
I can fix her.
I thought we were going to get... I don't want her. I don't need her fixed. I'll take her as she is. I thought we were gonna get her being like, sort of like Reva-esque, as in like she kind of took up most of the story. But then after episode 4, I realized that these characters got put in their place, and it seems as though episode 5 and beyond is gonna be all about the freaking character that the show is named after. And I could not be more excited. Now, I'm not saying that
question.
I'm not saying that Thrawn, Morgan, Elsbeth, Balin, and I'm not saying they all need to take a back seat and they need to have little to no screen time. That's not what I'm saying. Just don't make the entire show off of those characters who we don't really know, but instead incorporate them into the story and like drop little bits of them into the story, like we see in the animated shows, like we see in Clone Wars, but I get it. It's a little easier to do because you have whole seasons and you can do multiple arcs.
22 episodes.
But if there's
22
somebody,
episodes of content.
if there's somebody that I think can do it the right way, I think it's Dave Filoni, and I think we saw a little bit of that in Andor too, where each character sort of had their moment, but it was at the right time. Reva,
Agreed.
her time was not there. That was the time for Obi-Wan and Anakin. Bo-Katan, you could argue that was her time, but then again, that whole season was a complete mess in regards to storytelling in the first place. So you just have to ask
Yeah,
John
the
what was
pacing
up
was
with that.
really off.
But
Pacing was off.
as far as this show goes, after episode 3, they kind of took it, like they backed up a little bit with that, and then this past episode that we had just gotten, it wrote the ship, and we know where we're heading now. We know what's to come. So I will say that the first 2 episodes, to me personally, if I were to rate everything, it would get probably like a 6.5 to a 7. Episode 3 gets like a 5. I'm just being generous because of space battles, and I'll take space battles any day.
Facts.
If there was anything less than that, it probably would have gotten a 4 or a 3. This past episode, I give it a 9 out of 10. Just because of, I mean, it was from the jump. This is the first time we have seen storytelling, character, world building, action, and it all come together and be fluent. And to all the people that said that, well, Star Wars isn't about lightsaber, Star Wars isn't about fighting, Star Wars isn't about blah, 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 that are now turning around and
I'm sorry,
this,
Wars is in the name.
that are now turning
Wars
around and
is
calling
literally
this
in
the
the
best
name.
content that Disney has ever dropped. I mean, just take a step back and look at what the original trilogy was about. Look at what the sequel the prequel trilogy was about. Look at the sequels. We know
Yeah, the sequels
they
too.
sucked. But look at what the sequels had incorporated.
This series is not called Star Peace.
It's
not
not
called Star Negotiations. It's not called Star Talks. It's called Star Wars. It is about people flying, blowing each other up in starships, and cutting each other in half with lightsabers and shooting each other with blasters.
You can have
That's
the political.
That's what it's about.
You can have the political dialogue and also have the amazing character development and story creation, and also epic action scenes. We just saw it with the last episode. It's proof that you can incorporate every single one of those aspects into a single episode. I still hate that the runtime on these episodes are wicked short. I'm always gonna not like there is no excuse when you have other live action episodes, when you have anime, when you have other shows that are the talk of the,
an hour
that are
long,
the talk of the
45
town and
minutes
are the
long.
hour and are an hour long, hour 45 minutes. I mean, each episode should at least be 55 minutes. That's just my opinion, but I get it with the limited series, quote unquote, and the short 8 episodes. Like I don't know why they decided that that was going to be their default their template. Let's do 8 episodes. Let's have one. Let's give the first 2 episodes right away because we know those 2 episodes are mainly just filler, and we want to get them in it right away. Like, as it just boggles my mind that they still think they need to be inside this format. Andor was the only one that sort of broke that format, but I mean, could you
Didn't
imagine?
Andor give us the first 3?
I think so, but could you imagine if Kenobi was like 12 to 15 episodes long? Could you
They wouldn't have had to
imagine
rush it.
they
If
wouldn't have
it,
had
it's
to,
like if it was a movie, if it was a movie, if it was a
which it
movie
was
like it was
supposed to
supposed to
be.
be,
It was supposed to be a
if
movie.
it was a movie like it was supposed to be. All right, but I'm gonna. Okay, so when you said that you thought that Ahsoka was going to be relegated to a side character, I did not. I you saying maybe remember the reports about like what Ahsoka was going to be about and the themes that were going to potentially be explored. Ahsoka was never, at least I believe that Ahsoka was never going to be relegated to side character status because we already knew that the World Between Worlds was going to make an appearance, and we already knew that she was going to like potentially see Anakin again. Like we knew that Hayden was there. We knew that there was might be some flashbacks. There might be some weird things where she views alternate timelines of the Star Wars universe, or she views things in Anakin's past that she didn't get to see because she was gone for all of Episode 3, um, and before that, so maybe you know there are I at least I didn't think that she was ever going to be a side character. Um, moving to Episode 3 and 4.
We can skip through. We can just talk about the current episode, episode 4.
Okay, yeah, we don't have to talk about Episode 3 because Episode 3 again snooze fest.
Nothing
It just showed
happened.
off how inept the Republic was. We got a cool little moment with Hera and Kanan's son, which I liked.
Actually,
Yeah,
that was the episode that everybody talking about Marok, um, and then comes to find out our Marok theories were shit. So,
all
um,
Marok theories were literally like everyone's like, oh, he's a clone, he's this, he's this.
the craziest one
Like,
I saw was that
no,
he was
he
the
was.
Luke clone. Like,
Oh
I
yeah, yeah,
mean,
yeah. They thought that we were
I
going
was
full
honestly
Joris payoff.
expecting, I was honestly hoping it was going to be Colin Trevor, like back from the dead, but you know,
You thought it was gonna be Coleman Trevor back from. I hate you.
I kind of
I
wish.
hate you so much.
I'd pay to see that.
Tell somebody call Mace Windu. We have a sighting of your favorite. We have a mention of your favorite Jedi ever.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah.
So,
Just like quick
anyways,
sidebar. That whole
episode
Mace Windu thing was with Coleman Trevor was insane.
episode 4.
But Episode 4.
Right
So
from the
where
jump.
did we even start?
It just
Like,
so let's start off with the fact that it seems as though in every single, and I'm gonna give credit to Nick because he's the one who actually put this in the group chat.
mhm.
Nick, shoutouts to you. Um, favorite sci-fi trope is that you can fix any mechanical problem by just dinking around with some wires that are located in the cockpit or like on the outside of the ship. Like
They're always below
like
the main console of the cockpit.
you just gotta like mush your fingers together and make some like mechanical noises and then yell at your partner and say, no, that one goes there, that one goes there, and then ta-da, you fixed it, it's all
Everything
taken care
can
of.
be recalibrated. Literally everything on a starship can be recalibrated, which is honestly like design wise, and this is me nerding out for a little bit. Design wise, having everything be like redundant or having some systems be redundant is honestly pretty nice. But it's also the tropiest of all tropes, and I find it hilarious.
If only it was like that with technology in the real life. But anyways,
Oh, Oh boy.
So, the
Okay.
episode pretty much kicks off with, and another thing I thought was funny too, for like 3 episodes in a row, we've seen Balin and that witch lady just stare off into the distance on this cliff. And I'm like, how much longer are we just gonna stand here? Like, they got like lighting hooked up, and like, I see people walking around, but I don't see people doing anything. It's like the meme with like the construction crew when they're working on a job site for like months. You see a lot of action, but there's no progress being made. So I'm like, what are we just doing at this construction site thing
I think they were simply
that's supposed to
waiting
like beam
for.
them off into the distance, unless they were
I
waiting
think they
for
were just
them to
waiting.
get there. But
No, the thing was they were waiting for the Eye of Scion's construction to be complete. They had literally only just gotten that last hyperdrive core
I
there
know,
from
yeah,
the
but it
Superstar
just
Destroyer.
every scene was just funny because
Oh, it
it
was
was
hilarious.
it was just them
Honestly,
doing the same thing, just staring off into the distance, and it's like, can we
the
like do
craziest part to
something
me about
else?
all of this, the craziest part to me about all of this was the pauses that
Dude,
Ahsoka
oh my
and Brock.
god, that
Let
was
me finish. Let me finish.
infuriating.
The pauses in between each lightsaber duel were so wild to me. I hated. I hate that. Like it's a little too, or at least it feels like Dave Filoni is trying to make lightsaber duels of the post like Star Wars post Episode 6 era look like samurai duels because everything's long and drawn and slow, and then there's like 5, 6 strikes and slices, and then they pause again for another like 2 to 3 minutes, and then they do it again. Like every time Marok and Ahsoka fought each other, that's all it was. And I'm sitting here going like, please
Okay,
just
I,
keep fighting.
I thought you were going somewhere else because when you said pause, I thought you were going to talk about the dialogue in the first two
Oh,
episodes.
there's that
The
too.
dialogue in the
I
first
wasn't
two
even touching the
episodes
dialogue in the
was
first two
utter
episodes.
dog shit, and I'm not talking about like the actual lines. I'm just talking about the delivery. I'm talking about the overall like someone would give a line and there would be like a good 5 to 10 second pause, and I'm just like,
I didn't
come
even want to
on,
talk about the
like
dialogue in the first few episodes. I was
like it
off of
was
that.
just.
I hadn't talked about it before. I was just
And
gonna let
that
it
other
go.
that Sabine scene where she's like leaving the town or whatever, and the Republic pilot was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna pull you over. What are you doing? Driving closer to that ship? Oh my God, what is she doing?" And then she like does the cool like underneath the ship trick, and the guy's like, "That was actually pretty good. I'm gonna let you go." Like if I'm in a police chase and I'm on a motorcycle and there's like a blockade of freaking cops next to me, and I somehow do some like amazing Tom Cruise Mission Impossible roll over, that they're not gonna be like, wow, that was pretty cool, we're gonna let him go. They're gonna keep chasing me. So I get it. It was just to like introduce her, I guess, as like now she's sort of like a rebel, literally like a badass. Um,
Yeah.
but anyways, I mean that's basically all I have to say about that for those last two those first 2 episodes. But anyways, in regards to the lightsaber fights, though, Seon, you're not a big fan of them. I absolutely loved them. I thought that was some of the greatest Disney lightsaber
Seriously?
fights. Yeah, I
No,
thought
no,
it was
no.
amazing.
Hold on, hold
I
on.
thought
All of
Balin's
them, or just Episode 4?
no episode four's lightsaber fights
Okay, yeah.
have been some of
Episode
the
4
that's been some
was
of the
good.
best lightsaber fights we've ever seen from Disney Star Wars.
I mean, the
I
bar
thought
is in hell, but yeah.
No, but like I mean, I thought give credit where credit's due. I thought Balin was absolutely amazing. I like his stance. I like his overall aggressiveness and how he holds it like it's a freaking jackhammer. But like he's not like Kylo Ren where he's just like slinging it aimlessly. He's
He
controlled.
has
It's
he
controlled
has so
anger.
much. Like he and Anakin Skywalker, I think
And
have the exact same style. I
Shin,
think both of them fight with Form 5, and Balin's might be a little rusty and modified, and just I actually no, rusty isn't the right word. I think his is more aggressive and indulgent to his strength, because he's a big dude. Like
yeah,
he's a big dude, and um, he is clearly physically stronger than Ahsoka.
and Shin just
Um,
reminds me of a mix of Asajj Ventress with Darth Maul. I don't know why. It's just her overall attitude and like her like apprentice it just gives me that vibe of like apprentice Darth Maul. Um,
Shin is very much unhinged, and I mean that in the nicest way possible because
She's definitely gonna turn and kill Balin. I know it's gonna
I
happen. I think they foreshadowed it
I
already.
yeah, I think that she's just yeah, no, she's literally like one half step off from going off the deep end entirely.
And I also think they foreshadowed in the second episode where Ahsoka Tano's name is mentioned, and the witch lady, I always forget her name.
Morgan.
Yeah, she mentioned something about like how you're still holding on or whatever, and he was like, "No, just," I forget what he specifically said, but
No, okay, so what he says is I know what you're talking about. So he's like, are you sentiment? It's like, oh, it'd be ashamed to kill her. He's like, are you sentimental? He's like, no, there's a fact. There's just so few Jedi left.
I think he still has a bit of a soft spot for her, even though it clearly didn't show in the last episode. But I think
No,
something's going to happen where Ahsoka's life is going to be on the line, and he is going to either sacrifice himself or he is going to turn back. Because we always
I
see
wouldn't. Well,
it's always, the apprentice is the one to turn, and the master is, the one that has to deal with the loss of their apprentice. But maybe this time it's going to be a little different. It's going to be reversed. That's just my opinion. But anyways, the lightsaber fights, loved them. Marok being an absolute nobody. Honestly, I'm fine with it because from day
yeah,
one,
I
I
liked it.
do
I
not
liked it.
want fucking Starkiller, please. I'm fine with Sam Witwer showing up and being like a voice actor for him. I guarantee you he was the voice actor, but he might also even play the son as well, which I'm fine with. But I don't need him as Starkiller. I don't need him as no, 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 no. Unless when Star Wars in 50 years becomes like free domain, it's like an open domain. Anybody can do whatever they want with it. Somebody takes Starkiller and makes it on a whole trilogy on him, I'm fine with. But right now, he just doesn't belong. He does not belong in Disney Star Wars. Like, for the love of God.
I'm writing that down. I'm writing that down. In
Thank
50
you.
years, when Star Wars
Thank
is
you.
public domain,
It
we're going to
might.
come back to this discussion.
We are. And I
We'll
hope
come back to this.
I hope that Saga gets their shit together, and then we can finally start making residuals.
Dog, please don't ask SAG to get their stuff together. Ask all the companies.
I'm
Ask
so
Top
happy
Top
this. I'm
Bob
so
Iger to
happy
get it
this.
together.
I'm so happy this show came out right before all of it. I'm so.
Oh my
That sounds so selfish, but like, come on. I have been
No,
dying
I get it.
for some good
I
content.
get it.
It's been a dry
I
spell over here to find any good content.
It's been
Anyways,
terrible. But okay, so the lightsaber battles. Yes, Episode 4's lightsaber battles plural was the best we've gotten since the throne room scene in Episode 8, and like and that's honestly for Disney Star Wars, that's a high bar. Because the throne room scene was just I mean it was chaos, and it was beautiful, organized, controlled chaos in the most uncontrolled way possible.
but
I know it makes no sense. It's not supposed to.
see,
Now, with the way that Ahsoka and Balin fought, like Balin fought like a man who was absolutely protecting something. Like it wasn't that like it wasn't that Ahsoka wasn't strong enough to beat him. It's just that she fought with a little too much emotion, and I think it threw her off. Um, which was interesting to see. Like she slipped up multiple times during that fight.
well, yeah, because I think he, on the other hand, is a more mature. He's a survivor as well. I mean,
Yeah,
he had to
and
survive
he's
the
clearly
order.
not a survivor in terms of, oh, I just went and I hid. He was a survivor in like, nah, I was fighting my entire life.
Yeah,
Like
I think,
old buddy was,
and I
old
think it
buddy was
showed in that
not.
fight.
Oh yeah, no, he. This is the first time in a long time where we've seen a fan favorite character just get outdueled by
Yeah.
someone who, like Ray absolutely killed that choreo. I was so impressed. Like we saw him, deflect blaster bolts, and that's not that difficult, to do when the blaster bolts aren't actually there and everything's CGI. You can just you can kind of just like put your lightsaber wherever and like you're deflecting stuff.
Right.
But the actual choreo that he did with Rosario, and Rosario's choreo was good. I wasn't impressed in the first episode with her battle against the droids, but I was a lot more impressed in this episode with what they had her doing and everything. Um,
I thought the
Again, a
battle
little
against the
too.
droids was fine. That was one of actually my brighter spots. Actually about that whole thing, and
I have higher standards when it
bec-
comes to lightsaber duels. I'm
be-
sorry.
because we're on the top, you brought that up. Have you seen this thing going around on Twitter in regards to the first episode when she's like massaging and like caressing the tomb or whatever the hell she's doing? You can hear in the
You mean
background.
fixing the puzzle?
Yeah, yeah, whatever. She literally looks like she's massaging the tomb. Put that on a t-shirt.
It. I hate it.
um, you can hear in the background what sound like Darth Maul from Rebels say, "Is he the chosen one?" But it was
Yeah, I
debunked to
think that
become. It wasn't Darth Maul. It was the Son. It was the Son.
really.
Yes. So now, with
Actually,
that
yes,
being
I did
found
hear that.
out, and then seeing Anakin appear in the world between worlds, I think
Do you
this is the
think that
Son
it's the
playing mind
son?
tricks, and I think this is either evil Anakin or I think this is the Son entirely. And I think because the only way she can see Anakin is, I believe, isn't it? The only way she's gonna see Anakin is if she peers into one of these like these other like
Worlds?
not portals because it's not time travel, but like the only way she could really communicate with him is either calling out to him through the Force, which I don't even think she ever thought of because the last she saw of him was Vader.
Yeah, but she knows he's. I think she'd know he's dead.
So
I think she'd feel it.
I
She felt
think,
Anakin's turn. She felt Anakin's turn and had the death of Mace Windu from thousands of
yeah.
light years away. I'm pretty sure she
So,
felt his
but
death.
my point is, I thought the only way we were gonna see them interact was either through a flashback or her peering into one of these scenarios, and the scenario being the battle on Mustafar, where Obi-Wan actually dies and she has to step in to stop it. But apparently, that's Anakin, like in the flesh. 'Cause he's not a Force ghost. That's him in the flesh, and he's just there. Now, why he's in the flesh? I assume it's because it's the world between worlds, and as a Force ghost, you can fully manifest into like a physical being. But I guess when you go into the other, like when you go into the actual world, you're a Force ghost. Um, put it this way: Episode 5 is going to absolutely break the internet, and it is Disney has so much faith in this episode that they are opening theaters for free screenings. And
I'm so pissed that
I
there's
am
none of
going
those
to
in.
be there. I am going to be at one of those screenings. I will be at the screening next week for episode 5. I will be active on all social media, so you can follow me on all my social medias. I will be vlogging it. I will be tweeting about it. I will be there, and I will be giving you guys. This is a Taji Station exclusive video. Taji Station exclusive will be giving you guys the details of episode 5. So, if you want to know if you want to know all the bits and pieces, please subscribe and
I'm
follow me on
so
Instagram and follow me
annoyed
on Twitter and
that
follow me
there
on
aren't
Snapchat. And
none of those in my area. Like I looked in my zip code and there's just like, okay.
I'm with traffic. I'm traveling a good like 45 minutes for this. So, and
Honestly
I
though, it
hope
makes sense.
I just hope when I get there that there's gonna be seats because it's first come first serve, and I leave work at 5, so I'm gonna be
When does it start?
8, but traffic. So I'm gonna get here. I'll probably not leaving till like 5:30. So I want to get there no later than 6:30.
Might just honestly, it might make sense just to go straight from work.
Yeah, maybe. Well, but anyways, just thought I'd let you
Just
guys
bring
know
it.
that's gonna be happening. But I did not expect her to be in the world between worlds so early on in the show. But then
How
again,
many
I feel
episodes
like
are left?
4.
Okay, we're halfway through the season, so like so
Like,
early is not.
yeah, it makes sense. Um, also, I just love the world between worlds because it just gives me like Halo vibes, like the Halo loading screen with like the ring. It brings back a memory, like a childhood memory. Anyways, how do you think she got there? Was she pulled in? Because if she was pulled in by Anakin, that contradicts Dave Filoni's idea on what the world between worlds is. Because it's not time travel, and you can't completely interact with all the different universes. So, is she actually dead, or did
I don't think she's
somebody,
dead.
or did Anakin have something to do with why she, or the son, or whoever, have something to do with why she is
Well, here's the
there?
thing: you can get pulled into the world between worlds. Ezra did it.
Okay, so that's another thing too. Did the same thing happen to Ahsoka that basically happened to Ezra?
No, like so Ezra has already pulled Ahsoka into the world between worlds. So all like it is highly possible that someone pulled Ahsoka into the world between worlds again. Like because we would have. There's no. There's nothing that states. Oh yeah, like there's a portal to the world between worlds at that location. Like I think we would have seen some kind of foreshadowing or some kind of hint to that because there's no way they're gonna pull that out with like no you know
Right, I get what you're saying. It's I guess episode 5 is going to do a lot of like putting the pieces together, and I want to know. So when I was texting Sayon about, like, this was right after the episode happened, I said I can go to the messages, but I said hold up. If he's going to like catch her up on everything, and she tells him what's going on and how we have this big bad Thrawn, he's like the heir to the Empire. He's gonna be like, well, why don't you go find my fucking son, and he can deal with this. So I think what we're gonna do is we are going to get. Hold on, I gotta find it. Yep. So I go, wait. He could tell her to go find Luke. Um,
oh,
yeah,
is this our text from last?
yeah, Dark Force Rising.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah. The writing's on the wall. If she's gonna tell him about this current pressing matter, don't you think he is gonna wanna, tell her
Okay.
about
All right.
Luke?
let
And
me
not only
let me
that,
explain what Dark Force Rising is for those who don't know real quick. All right, so Dark Force Rising is the original sequel trilogy. It is essentially the first three books that came out after that take place after Star Wars Episode 6, and it deals with the fledgling New Republic slash Rebel Alliance having to defend themselves against Grand Admiral Thrawn, who was picking up the pieces of the shattered Imperial fleet, while also looking for a fleet of nigh invincible warships that could be slaved together, basically like under one master control, and then directed from a single starship called the Katana Fleet, a fleet of dreadnought class cruisers, I think. Um, and and these ships were obscenely powerful for their time. Like I don't know how they were made. Like there's legends as to how they were made and stuff like that, but they were obscenely powerful for their time. Anyone who controlled that Katana fleet was basically like was incredibly hard to beat. So again, there was three books, and it basically dealt with Thrawn trying his hardest to obliterate the New Republic before it could really get on off the ground. And Luke was cloned by this mad Jedi, and they were trying to clone other Force sensitives and stuff. It's how he met Mara Jade, and how Mara Jade stopped hating him and trying to kill him every time we met because she was Emperor's hand. And when she found out that he killed the Emperor, she was like, yeah, now you gotta die. Um, it was it was a masterclass in Star Wars writing, and it really kicked off the expanded universe because of how well it did. Um, I'm like, if we get a Dark Force Rising like parallel where Luke and the New Republic like come to meet Thrawn, as he's trying to return to the galaxy, I would have one, I would love that, but two, I'd have way more respect for Disney Star Wars, not just Dave Filoni as a whole, because I have tremendous amount of respect for Dave Filoni and everything he's done for the franchise and for the brand. Um, But I have a tremendous amount of respect for Disney as a whole because it shows them that they're not as scared as they used to be to pull from existing source material and use it to make their own stuff better. Like I get it, they're trying to prove that they can do their own thing. I guess I don't know, maybe, but like sometimes the best thing you can do is to look to what came before you and to pull from that, and that's okay. Like you have you could have way worse source material to pull from than the expanded universe. Like I'm sorry, like they lay down
Oh
a
yeah.
blueprint,
So I mean,
and it's legendary.
I'd love if I want to know if that's gonna happen. I don't. We gotta. He's gotta be. Look, Luke has to somehow be involved, whether it's a recast. I'm done with the de aging, like or the. Don't convolute it. Just give us a recast of Sebastian Stan or a younger or the even the person who did the motion cap for Mando season 2. Just like it's time. Like even Mark Hamill said he gives them full authority to recast. Like it's time, and I think there's no other better time to do it than with the Dave Filoni verse, the Mando verse. I know Peter hates that, but he can't hear me when he's all the way at the desert. So I'm gonna call it the
Hmm.
Mandoverse. But I mean, yeah, I'm just overall, man. I think Star Wars needed this buzz. I mean, I don't remember the last time. I don't even think people were this excited or this hyped after Mando season 2. But the ending, but the difference is that was a finale. This is sort of like, just this is right in the thick of it. And we're gonna get a lot of. I got a feeling we're gonna get a lot of exposition in episode 5. I think a lot of stuff's going to happen. I definitely think we're going to see Thrawn either in episode 5 or 6. I don't think they're going to save him till episode 8. I think we're going to get some answers as to where he is pretty soon. And she can pretty much go anywhere in the universe, can't she?
I believe anywhere at any time, technically,
So, I mean,
as long
if
yeah.
she wanted to, so she go to like the future or is it basically just stuff that's already happened?
I don't think she could go to the future in the form that we think she can go to the future in. Because I don't but we do know that she can go to the past and affect events in the past. It would seem because I'm unsure if Ahsoka showing up at the end of season 4 of Rebels means that she like survived her fight with Vader, or it means that Ezra pulling her out is what made her survive. Because like
Right, because that
her death was never confirmed.
well
Like
that
it was
that
never confirmed that
that
she died
scene
at the
was
hands of Vader.
that scene was also in episode 2 of Ahsoka. So like people are saying that that was the same that took place at the same point in time or that was like a different universe. Like I don't
No, here's the thing. I firmly believe that that took place after, because I firmly believe that Ahsoka took place after. Um, I think that Sabine and Ahsoka tried it once. Well, we know this. They tried it once at the beginning. It didn't work out. Sabine came back to Lothal. Now they're trying it again. Like this is not. It's not this. That's not the same scene. I think people are just trying to look through things. I
they're
think people are just
looking
trying to look.
they're over analyzing
Yeah,
over
they're overanalyzing. They're looking into things that they're looking for things that just flat out aren't there.
like with Anakin like they're saying that like that's Vader's lightsaber, like I don't know. Like I want to know because I want to know how if he's there, right, and if all the rumors that we've been hearing about Episode 5 for pretty much the longest time about how she's gonna fight him, like how does that work? Does if he's right there, like there's just a lot of questions, and I think I mean obviously it's a Dave Filoni directed episode. I'd be shitting bricks if this episode 5 was not directed by Dave Filoni. If I'm being totally honest. But because this is what he created and this is what he wanted, I'm happy that he's the one behind it and he's the one pulling all the strings. Um, I don't. What is the one thing? All right, give us one thing you definitely think we're gonna see. Something you definitely think is gonna happen. Something you absolutely no is so bizarre that it definitely won't happen, but you'd love to see it anyways. And
One meh thing, one thing that could happen but
one
couldn't
thing
happen.
that you really don't want to happen, or the direction you don't want them to go in.
Okay, direction. One thing that I absolutely think will happen, we get um, Ezra versus um, Elsbeth.
In episode 5.
Not in episode 5, but I think, well, in episode 5, I think we get a lot of exposition, and I do think that there is something off with Anakin. So we potentially get Anakin or Dark Anakin versus Ahsoka. Yeah, like the remnant of Anakin's dark side power versus Ahsoka. Um, One thing that I would love to happen is honestly the same thing: Anakin versus dark side Ahsoka, and then actual Anakin steps in and protects his
Right.
apprentice.
Right.
Or like the whole theories with the sun, Ahsoka and Anakin versus the sun.
That would be dope.
I think that would be so fire. Like I genuinely think that'd be dope.
One thing I think we're gonna see is the Son slash Anakin versus Ahsoka. One thing I think is a total reach. I think we're gonna see Luke appear. I think there's gonna be a mentioning of Luke. I think she's gonna go to Luke and talk about Thrawn, and I think that's how we're gonna finally know how they met. Because obviously
If he says some BS about not wanting to join or like not wanting to get involved in the galaxy's problems or whatever, I'm gonna smack somebody at Disney. Like if he, because this, bro, you came out of retirement or wherever you were to train, Grogu and some other Jedi people, like some other Jedi Padawans or whatever. You better not be talking about no. Oh, I don't want to get involved in the galaxy's problems. Or if you don't, hmm, hmm.
one thing I do not want to happen is Ahsoka goes back in time, or you tries to attempt this whole thing as like time travel and go back and change some of her. Like I don't want to see her going
I don't
back to
think
the
she
past.
can.
I don't want
I
to
don't
see
think
her
she can do that.
going to the past with Sabine. Like no, I don't want to see any of that. But
I don't think she's I don't think she's. I don't think that's part of what she's capable of doing.
I also think we're gonna get a cameo from either Yoda or I mean, getting a Qui Gon cameo would be nice, but he literally just the other day like completely roasted the entire Star Wars saga. So
Oh, what do you say?
he said it's that the fans are a cult and it's diluted, and the more work or the more projects they do, the less valuable it is. I guess
I mean, it is a cult.
that's just him. That's just him being a boomer and living in this boomer mindset of you can only do movies, and like
I mean,
movies are one, two,
he's not.
three, and that's it. Like, which is fine. Yes, you can only like. Obviously, you don't need like 7 million Transformer movies, but like with
I
Star
don't know. The
Wars,
last two Transformers movies were gas.
yeah, whatever. But
The
like
last two Transformers movies were gas.
with Star Wars, like I mean, it's so there's so
We had
much more.
50,000 books.
There's
I don't
so
think we
much
could
more
like.
than just the. There's so much more than just the Skywalker saga. So I get
Yeah,
what he's
exactly.
saying, but like I mean, come on, shut up. You were in Kenobi. Like, don't.
No, like that's the thing though. Like I truly believe that there can we had 50,000 expanded universe books. Like like come on now.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, one thing I absolutely don't want to see. I in episode 5, I absolutely do not want to see more of the Republic refusing to believe that there is actually something out there. Like I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it. Like I'm
actually, no. I
like
don't want to see the New Republic win. You cannot be this stupid and then win. So
no. Here's the thing. Here's the thing though. I think that they do need to get some sort of victory because then it would potentially justify them. Um, you know, it would justify them turning another blind, right? Because I think that that's their pattern. I think
yeah,
that
well,
that's the pattern that
Thrawn
Disney.
isn't the right guy to have them win against. I mean,
He is the right guy to have them win against because what could possibly be worse than Thrawn in their eyes?
Palpatine returning, but that's not
Yeah,
gonna
but
happen.
like, shut up. But here's the thing, though. Like with the whole Palpatine returning thing, none of them are magic or Sith minded or whatever. So none of that. I would never have been a thought to them in the first place. Like somehow Palpatine returned. Like none of them would have ever thought,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we're definitely gonna
So like
see like of all the contingencies.
even if it was like the New Republic at like the greatest they've ever been, it was like the strongest. Like even they wouldn't have seen it coming. Okay.
No,
Um.
absolutely. There's like the only way that they would have seen it coming is if Luke had been able to establish the new Jedi Order like
Right.
properly and like had a fully functioning temple, other Jedi masters with him. That's the only way that they would have seen that
Well, I
coming.
mean they've kind of hinted at it a lot with the new stuff, like with the new shows with the cloning and stuff like that. So don't you think they would want to consider it, or do you think they just thought they were all failed cloning attempts? Like that we've seen
I
with
mean,
season 2 and with
Jin.
Project Necromancer and how like they wanted Grogu and like
I
I don't
think that I think that the fact that most of the like the Empire sleeper agents are still undiscovered, especially
right.
what's your face, hot crazy lady, um, is still undiscovered. I think that they're that's not a plot point anymore. Plus, not to mention the fact that Necromancer is literally dead. Like Jin blew it all up, and the Mandalorians control Mandalorian.
Yeah. Okay,
Oh,
yeah. But also
Necromancer, it
but
personally is dead.
Thrawn didn't even want to bring Thrawn wanted it all to himself. Like he wants nothing to do with Palpatine. He wants all the power. He wants to be the top dog. So I don't even think Palpatine is even in the picture anymore. I think he's just worried about himself and him getting all the power.
No, he's absolutely not worried about Palpatine. Palpatine is even when Palpatine kept coming back as like Force Ghost or whatever, he was never part of Thrawn's plans.
I'd love to see an interaction between Anakin and Thrawn if that ever does happen, but I don't think Anakin's going to be able to intervene as a Force ghost like during this whole thing. So I guess the
No,
only well, yeah, I mean this is just going to be the longest week ever. I mean, setting up
I'm really impressed, like surprisingly impressed with the way that Episode 4 picked everything up.
yeah,
So
I didn't think they'd.
that's what
I think that's what we were. I think that's what I was looking for the first two episodes, because I was seeing some of the reviews that when the people who went and watched the show, I mean, clearly they were bought and paid for because they were like, this is like the best thing we've gotten since the sequels, and this has the most fighting in since the sequels. Like they were clear, like no, like you were clearly bought and paid for. You were told to say that, and
you thought, or at least you
it
thought they were
was
bought and paid for.
it was fancy. It was they were just trying to get people talking about it. That's another thing too. I I swear to like as amazing as this episode was and as amazing as episode 5 will be, like will people be talking about it? Like I really don't think so. Like I still think that most people think that this is like it's just dead because well, it leads to 7, 8, 9. So what does it matter? Like I just think that it's still going to like it just doesn't seem like it's still being talked about. Like it seems like it doesn't seem like it's been elevated to the point where it's worth having the discussion about it coming back. And I think the only way you can do that is if you make a movie that is like gonna get people in their seats and make people go out and go to the theaters.
You know what's going to do that?
Not having these bullshit like oh Kenobi was like the most viewed debut weekend on Disney Plus. Ahsoka debuted at like 2 million viewers like in the first like 2 days. Like you need to get people to the theater in seats and paying for movie tickets. And I think that's the only way you're gonna get Star Wars to be like elevated to be talked about as, you know, one of the
Back.
as back as one of the main movie franchises. Because right now it's
You know
not.
what's
I
going to
mean, go ahead, go ahead.
you know what's going to do that? You know what's going to do that?
Dave Filoni.
Um, well, one, making a movie that doesn't like absolutely suck. Two, making a franchise,
I
a
had no
movie
idea.
or
Maybe
movie
I
series,
don't think Ryan. I don't think Ryan Johnson thought that out.
making a movie or movie series that actually has like a creative direction of some sort. Like, and by creative direction, I mean like it was actually thought through. Um, and then three, like having a like choosing having the right characters, having the right characters. You need to pick characters that people are going to
You you don't have to
like
worry about
care about.
needing to recast characters because they're all coming back after all the BS and after all the Daisy Ridley, love her to death, she's a sweetheart, but like, oh yeah, I was a Skywalker and then I was a Kenobi and then they were like, no, you're gonna be a Skywalker and then they were like, you're gonna be a nobody. Like, yeah, it was all just a big like creative like I didn't really know what was going on, but we were all talking about it, and like she was like being passively aggressive, but also like making it known that there was no plan. And then you have John Boyega just being like, "Yo, you shrunk me on the Chinese poster," and then you go and cry about equal rights. Like, "F you, I'm done with this. No amount of money will pay me." Oh, by the way, I'm coming back. Yeah, I'd love to come back. Yeah, yeah. You want to give me a good character? Yeah, yeah. Give me all the money. Yeah, I'll come back. I'll come back. You can make me as small as you want on that Chinese poster. Pay me. I'll come back. Like, of course they're gonna come back, because if you give them enough money, they'll just come back and they will do the job. They won't really, you know, make a big hullabaloo of what they said before. They'll chalk it up to, oh, blah blah blah. It was just how I felt in the moment. This, that, and the other, and they'll just kind of suck it up. They'll just pretend like those comments never existed, and then they'll go on and they'll make the Ray movie, and then that movie will flop, and it is what it is. But that's just that's just the way things are going right now as far as the movie scene goes. I'm not sure if you feel the same way about that, but like, I don't know, doesn't them coming back kind of like alarm you a little bit?
No, it doesn't alarm me because John Boyega would not have come back if he wasn't assured that they were gonna do right by him.
Well, he did say.
He
Well,
spent the past
he did
he spent the
say.
past 2 years publicly like roasting Star Wars.
Well, roasted his character, roasted the choices that the directors made for his character about how he was pretty much just screaming, the boy who screamed Ray. Like, and now they're gonna turn around and sort of not pretend that didn't happen, but like, sure, give him an arc, whatever. I don't think that's how you get. I don't think that's how you get people back. I don't think you double down on the stuff that didn't work in the first place and then sort of ignore everything else that is what makes, Star Wars like a notable franchise. But that's a different topic of discussion for another day.
Sure. Look, I have so many thoughts about how to return Star Wars to a relevant franchise. You could
I
literally just like shut off your like everyone could just shut off their mics and just let me talk for an hour, and I'd lay out a step-by-step plan.
there has
It'd
been
be it would be gas too.
there have been so many like rumors and little nuggets that have dropped since we have last convened in regards to Star Wars, and I wish I had all the time in the world to talk about it, but um, we do not because that is just life. Um, I do have, however, I'm not going to go through this whole thing now, but I remember a couple months ago, um, we were like, okay, the question was posed if you were just given the Bob Iger, or if you were in charge of Lucasfilm, no, if you were given like Kathleen Kennedy's position, like what would you do? What steps would be made? And I think I sent I have like a whole like thing of like what I would do, and
Didn't we all send in
I
like
think we all sent in,
our
yeah, like ours, and we wanted to do it for an episode, but we just never had the time to do it. Um,
we'll do it next time we're all together.
yeah, but one of the things I think is kind of funny is I wanted all the shows that were announced to be canceled, so I was gonna pull a DCEU and just sort of reboot everything. Um,
No, I still think that Rangers of the New Republic
yeah, I'd
and
bring.
Rogue Squadron 2. I'm so pissed that Rogue Squadron is
Yeah,
is
no,
no
I,
longer a thing.
I,
That
yeah,
that irks me to
that
no end.
that would have been Top Gun, but Star Wars. I mean,
I like literally they called it Top Gun to Star Wars. Like after watching Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick, after watching Top Gun again and then watching Top Gun Maverick, I'm like, you're telling me we didn't get this?
I think we're gonna get it though. I mean, it was never
If
canceled. I
we
think it was just it was indefinitely delayed.
indefinitely delayed. I'm like, you was better give me this.
I think it will. I think it will happen. When it becomes a public domain in 50 years.
Yep.
But so yeah, our overall thoughts. If you were to rank this, okay, if you were to give this episode or this series so far, or at the halfway point, a rating out of 10, what would you give it?
At the halfway point.
Yeah, and you can give your like closing remarks and stuff, if you must.
Okay. So I would give the show at this halfway point either a range of 7.5 to 8. I didn't be personally because I didn't rank the first or the third episode as low as you did. Um, like I hit it at a 5 or a 5.5. Um, but actually no, because you ranked it. Yeah, no, that's about the same. Um, I had it at a 5.5, but I had this last episode as a 9.5 to 10. The first two episodes at around 7. I think that this fourth episode made up for everything that we had to sit through the third episode. And then some. I think that
Usually,
they
hold
have a
on,
real
sorry to pause, to stop you real quick. Usually, it's the finale that does that, though, right? Like, it's like, we had to sift through all that, but we got an epic finale. This, it's like, nope, right in the middle of it, they kind of, like, cleaned it up, and, like, here we go. But I just wanted to make that point. Like, usually it's the finale that's, like, is what makes up for the disaster of, like, the slow.
the sins of everything else.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
No, and that's the thing. Like it wasn't like that, and it was actually impressive that they managed to do something right. I guess like, and not impressive they managed to do something right, but just like impressive
Disney
that
doing
you know.
something right? A multi
I mean,
billion
yeah,
dollar company? What is this?
like it was very. It was just satisfying. It was one of those satisfying moments where I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I have nothing to critique. Like as a writer and as someone who you know, like every day, like I'm working on another project or like working on my book or prepping something for another series that I have an idea for. Like I can't watch a show without like picking it apart subconsciously, right? Like guessing what's gonna happen next. And there are very few shows that can surprise me like that. Um, I didn't. Well, this show one, it didn't need to surprise me, but two, I was just able to enjoy it. I was literally able to sit there and just be like, oh, this is fun. This is good. I like this.
Like anytime you watch Revenge
Um,
of the Sith, you can just put it on and just enjoy it.
exactly. This is where the fun begins, and it was a good time. I just thoroughly enjoyed um every bit of this show. And I'm just like, okay, you know what? I'll be okay with that. Like I will absolutely, I'll watch this. I'll enjoy it and it's gonna be a good time for everybody. Um I think they have a real opportunity to do to make this amazing. Like to make this show, the best Star Wars show that they can. And I really hope that they take that opportunity. Like I really, really that this actually turns out to be the show that we want it to be. And the show that honestly the show that Star Wars needs it to get the franchise kind of
Yeah,
back on track.
there's definitely a lot of weight put on Dave Filoni and this show in general, and I think that there's a really good chance that this could entirely flop, or this could also put this, get people talking again. But I think what matters most is momentum, and you know they haven't been able to sustain any momentum after the finale of Mandalorian season 2, because you just get one bad show after another, and then you'd get something like the Tales of the Jedi or Visions or Andor, and it's like, okay, this is so inconsistent. We need to like start building up some like back-to-back bangers, which they have yet to do. And I just think that because after Ahsoka, I think we have like probably the largest gap we've ever seen in regards to Star Wars content. I think it's like a year and 3 months, or like a year and something like that, until the next piece of Star Wars content is dropped. So that's gonna be uh, rough, especially to try to make content off of. I guess we'll just have to milk what we've gotten so far and just have to
We'll just milk what we've got and go to the extended universe.
severely analyze it in every single detail.
We'll just milk the extended universe for all it's worth, dude.
That too. So as far as my closing remarks go and my overall rating on the show, I give the overall show rating a 7. So far, it started off pretty underwhelming. Third episode was just complete and utter dog shit, and then the fourth episode just kind of was like, okay, this is what's happening now. Like, let's go. Like, pick it up. Like, you got to pay attention, and I'm happy with that because I think that's how Star Wars needs to be. I think you constantly need that sort of like go, 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 go in regards to a show like this. Andor, slow burn, literally the whole show. Not the type of stuff I want from Star Wars. Not the type of stuff I think Star Wars is really meant for. But if that's what you want, then that show's there for you.
But it also worked. There's the thing.
That's the thing though. Like, it worked, but just it worked, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. So
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm hopeful that Dave Filoni is going to deliver, and I think that we will see what it means to have somebody behind the scenes that is actually not only literally worked side by side with George Lucas, but understands the material and doesn't fiddle around with agendas, politics, or just nuanced bullshit and just tells a good story. I think that's something that Star Wars has desperately needed. Just tell a good story, no matter who the individual character is, no matter who or what they may act like, or no matter what they represent. Just tell a good story, and you'll get people talking again. I mean, that's all you really need to do. So, without further ado, thank you guys for watching. Again, next Tuesday at 8 p.m. is when they will be showing the screening. I will be on Twitter, I will be on Instagram, I will be all over all platforms to sort of discuss and hype up and create content over this. San, I'm sure you'll be in the comfort of your own home. I'm hoping my theater will be. I'm hoping it will be packed with some fans, some awesome Star Wars fans that just genuinely want to see good Star Wars, and just a place where we can just all just chat about, this content and the stuff that we've been getting, and create an overall good environment, because I think that's what Star Wars needs. I think they know that. I think that's why they're doing this. We need to get people talking again. We need to get people, back face to face talking about, what they like about Star Wars, what they dislike, and what, somebody's opinions might be different, but you're not hiding behind a screen and, criticizing somebody for that opinion. You're talking to them face to face. So how are you going to handle that conversation like a adult human being with respect? So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I mean, that's all I gotta say. Unless you have anything else you want to add. I think that's gonna do it.
Nah, that is gonna do it.
I am crossing my fingers, and I'm excited more than anything about this, because we have longed for them being on the same screen together, and it is finally happening. I mean, if you would have told me, like, when I was 8 years old watching the Clone Wars movie that one day this was gonna happen, I would have thought you were crazy. I would have thought there ain't no way, but it's happening. So, I mean,
finally,
just suit up and be ready for a ridiculous ride that we are about to go on. But until next time, guys, stay tuned for more updates, videos, streams, yada yada yada, and we will see you guys next time.
All right. Peace.